Another Jordan on the channel, and this Jordan is actually part of a series that I've never owned, but I've followed pretty closely over the years. It's the third version of the shoe, and we're going to find out if it's something that I should either keep and you should have on your list, or if I should bin it. Okay, I would never bin it because A, I don't roll like that, and B, I'm not made of money. It is the Air Jordan Aura 3. These kicks live in a great part of the market, sub 200 bones. Actually, they're a fair bit below that here in Australia. They retail at 170 and I think 120 stateside. They come in a lot of different colorways to suit a bunch of different taste levels, and they're available. Yes, one of the most important features of a shoe, available. But it also competes against some pretty good options at this end of the market. New Balance have the two-way, Adidas have the Don issue number 3 and the Harden Step Back series, and then there are those shoes within Nike and Jordan's own range like PG5, the Witness 5, the Take series, the recently released Stay Loyal, and bloody blah. If you are looking for a shoe to play ball in, you're likely to be swayed based on their performance credentials. But if you're like me and simply appreciate basketball silhouettes, not necessarily to play in, but just to rock on a casual basis, you've got your work cut out for you. These shoes though, they do have a point of difference. Most of the shoes that I mentioned are new or modern designs that don't necessarily pull from like a rich heritage of retro designs. This does, but it doesn't do it in the same way that we've seen other Jordan shoes do it. And the shoes I'm thinking about are the Stay Loyal, that does borrow from the Jordan 12, the 11 Comfort, that surprise is based on the 11 Low, and then there was the Flight Club 91 that borrowed really heavily from the Jordan 6. This shoe doesn't claim to be part of any particular retro family, and I think its influence just shifts as the models themselves evolve. If you look at the original Aura, well, if I look at the original Aura, I definitely see the Jordan 10. Especially with those elastic bands that come up the eye stay. The Aura 2 kind of continued that theme, but brought in elements of the Jordan 11 with the way that the toe box area had that panel that was usually clad in a patent leather. The Aura 3 though, especially in the toe box area, if you look at the silhouette and you kind of squint when you're doing it and maybe ignore the air unit around the heel, really gives me Air Jordan 2 vibes. What do you think? Just me? Anyway, whatever it is, I think it's a beauty. What I really like about the Aura series is that each model has really evolved. The 1 is different to the 2 is different to the 3. And I know that this is not uncommon. Typically that is what happens with new models of shoes. But sometimes we see a bit of laziness creep in with models. We see incremental updates in between bigger updates. And I like to see something fresh released every year. In my opinion, the Aura 3 is a step up from the Aura 2. It definitely looks a lot more puffier, a lot more aggressive, and I think just all round a lot better. But again, they have stayed true to what the Aura is, and I'm not really sure what it is, but I think at its core, it's a performance shoe that just takes inspiration from the Jordan legacy of shoes, and that's exactly what Nike put down in their promotional material. The upper has a combination of textiles and leathers. You get two types of leathers. So you do get some real leather and synthetic leather. The real leather that's here is actually really nice and feels really good for a shoe at this price point. That real leather really covers most of the upper. I would say 2/3 of the upper, and it's basically the entire panel around the midfoot down to the toe box. Around the heel, you've got like this reinforced panel that I would think to be the synthetic leather. And unlike the synthetic leather that we've seen in shoes like the Air Max SC and the Flight Club 91 that I covered on the channel, this synthetic leather doesn't feel all too bad. It's definitely not horrible, and it doesn't have that overly vinyl type of look and feel. Finishing up the material up top, we've got some textile around the heel, and that textile is kind of patterned, and the heel itself is also padded, so it keeps things really comfortable up top. We also have a nylon tongue that is padded, super comfortable, and the lining in this colorway at least is super fly. You get this really cool mix of colors. I'm not sure how to describe it. It almost feels like a bit of a tribal type of print. It just looks great against the white. Down below, we've got a pretty basic but effective setup for the midsole and outsole. In this colorway, the midsole is one color, white, but there are some colorways that have a couple of different colors running through it. The air unit is like the air unit you would see on an Air Max 270. It kind of covers the whole heel area, but you're not getting the oversized nature of the bubble. It works, looks good, and does the job it needs to do. As far as fit goes, I went true to size and it fits me perfectly. And as far as how they feel on feet, they're quite comfortable. The padding inside really feels nice on feet. They might get a little bit hot on really hot days, but I think if you're using them just in a normal way, you're not going to have an issue with these shoes. What I really like about models like the Aura 3 is kind of like the variety that they're available in. It's great that they're available, but then they also cater to a lot of different taste levels. You've got stuff that is more traditional, like your bread type of colorways. Then you get something that's got a little bit more funk to them, like these guys. They're all white, but then they've got this wild kind of accent with this multicolor pattern through the lining and the back of the tab and some of the stitching, and they're available at a good price point. I'm really interested in your thoughts on the Aura 3 or the Aura series in general. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, but until the next video, laters.